Hello and welcome to Sports by Compian. My name, of course, is your host, Stephen Compian, and we're here with another edition of Midwest Rugby. That's right, D3 Rugby covered here on the pod. It's exciting times. And when we talk about these rugby things, when we talk about people tackling each other and scoring, we bring on our co-host, the ginger beard himself, flying high on some England wins over the weekend. Mr. George Mayhattie himself is in town.
Yeah, that Japan win does not count. England may as well went 4-0.
Hey, well, either way, you won, and our guest for this pot is the coach of the Lake County Coyotes. The man himself is here to talk to us about his tours, the Lake County hopes and dreams. Thomas is in the house. How you doing, sir?
Good. Glad to be here. Happy for you guys to have me there.
Yeah, we're excited to have you too. So let's hop on into it. You were just getting into a story about your most recent tour, and then we had to cut you off and get this going because the people of Sports by Copy need to know about this.
So what I was saying was basically a group of people decided to put this team together. They asked for veterans, active duty, reservists, anybody that has any military affiliation to basically apply, throw in their resume, and they just chose from there. There was about 300 applicants or 250, somewhere around there. And then they picked, how many were there? Was 29 of us. I think they wanted 30, but somebody got injured right before.
Okay.
So, yeah, they put the results out in March, and then to solidify your spot, you had to buy your plane ticket to England. Because if you know anything about the military, you can't really plan 8 months ahead of time is kind of really hard for us to do.
Sure. So that must have been a challenge trying to plan it. So was there what you mentioned? They kind of went through all the names. Was there like a tryout for this, or did they go based on your resumes?
It was strictly resume.
Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Wow. Yeah. Our own little rock star in the house.
Indeed. You must have been quite the candidate to get through 250. It's impressive. So with this being 8 months away, you just pulled the trigger anyway, bought the plane ticket, and it kind of worked out, or?
Well, so like everybody in the military has different points where you're basically on break from taking deployments, and that's where I'm at. So I was going to be available no matter what, but
nice.
There are some other guys there that I think pulled some strings to get there, but I'm glad they did because there was a lot of talent out there. There was a lot. It was good. It was a good experience. We had a couple Eagles, had a couple MLR players.
Cool.
Very cool.
Was this this happened? I've never really heard of the USA.
This was the first time in 15 years since they've done this.
Oh,
awesome! Let's bring awareness to it.
Very cool. Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, Thomas, what branch did you serve with?
I'm in the Navy currently.
Navy, cool. Well, appreciate your service. That's dope that you're able to take some time and play some rugby in between. And building up Lake County there, we love to see it. So tell us about the tour. You guys were in England. How many games you played?
The tour was excellent. It was 2 weeks. We had about 5 days. No, not even. We had like 3.5 days of like solid training with everybody that was brand new that you just met, and then we had a one game against the British Army right off the rip on a Friday. That was the big game. That was the main game, and it felt like it. It was great. It was a
big environment.
Yeah, great atmosphere, loud crowd. It was a pretty large crowd for what I thought it was going to be like.
Sure. So how'd the game go?
Well, I mean, for 3 days of practice before a match, I think the team didn't really click until the second half.
Okay.
And then at the second half was a way more even game. It was excellent play. Cody Melfi was kicking like a boss. He was kicking all over the place. Great field advantages for us, but like we were just too far in the hole from the first half. And the first half was main mistakes. I think what killed us the most was our own penalties against ourselves.
Yeah.
So
that's a staple of USA rugby. I mean,
I'll give you that.
You see a lot of it at D3 level, and I think it just translates to all of our levels, honestly.
And the reffing was a lot more high end, so like a little more strict.
For sure, than a lot of the guys are used to, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it. Just we had to adjust our play, and it showed. Our play definitely adjusted in the second half, and then going into the second game was like a whole different team.
Isn't it really nice? Now, obviously my experience with European refs have never been at a higher level, but one thing I did notice is it's not about them. It's about the game that's on the field. And I feel like a lot of our referees like to talk and be like, oh, it's like, shut up. We all know how to scrum. We fucking scrum 50 times alone. Like, I think the reffing experience was a lot better. There was like more game flow. Yeah.
More just get it done. He'll correct you on the way, like things like that, which we appreciated. The game was more exciting to play and watch, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. How was the piss up after the game?
Not as exciting as I thought it was going to be.
Really?
No.
Were they kind of mellow? Were you guys mellow?
Man, so we tried. I think it was us because we had to go to the Australia-England game the next day.
Okay.
Oh, fucking hell. What a game that was.
Oh, my gosh. And we were there for it live.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
Which was a gift from the British Army. They got us all tickets and got us all in there.
Wow. That's really cool. Shout out to them.
Oh yeah. They treated us, the whole thing was outstanding. The atmosphere after the match, the food, the beer was all included. It was a great social. There was a lot of like ceremonial type stuff because this was a first time thing. So like there was gifts given back and forth, a lot of talker. It was more formal than what we're probably all used to.
Sure, that makes sense. I mean, a big first game between Army matches, it makes sense. Yeah, gotta make it formal.
Is it considered a cap, Thomas? Are you capped for the USA military? I've always thought.
So they're making this a thing. Like it's already got a 3-year deal. Like they want to continue it. We're going back next year. They're going to do this whole selection process again. So
cool.
I hope it just keeps going and keeps growing.
That'd be really cool. What position do you play?
Front row.
Okay. Figured.
Probably not for Lake County, but out anywhere else I go.
Yeah, we'll see, bud. But we'll get to that in just a moment. So who were you playing in the second game?
We played the Royal Air Force.
Okay. And that when you guys were a little more cohesive together and such?
Oh, you could see it. It was defensively, we were smothering them. Cody Melfi had a game with the kicking. He was just
that your fullback or your 10?
Our 10.
Okay.
If you don't know Cody Melfi, he's one of the Olympians from the sevens team.
Okay.
So he just retired, and then it was funny because I was messaging him the post about the applications, and then he said, "Oh, I'm going," and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, he doesn't really need a freaking resume, but."
Yeah.
So we getting serious, are we?
I coached with him out in San Diego, so we already had a mutual thing going on.
Cool. And then your third and final game, who did you guys play?
No, it was just 2.
It was just 2? Okay.
They were trying to set up a third. I don't think it went through.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't play then. I was expecting a bit of a punch up when the two navies met.
I think that is the goal for next year is Army and Navy. So we'll see.
Yeah, the Air Force are a little bit too, pop to be on a rugby field.
I bet they had a good backline though.
Best looking hairstyles in the whole world. That one backline did.
For sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's pretty cool. So a tour out to England, but here you are with the Lake County Coyotes. You've now stepped in as is this the first year you're coaching with them? It is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
second year with the team, and then first year coaching.
Gotcha.
Hold on, Stephen. I'm going to digress a little bit. You played in the MLR, didn't you, for San Diego?
I was going to say, I thought so. Yeah. Okay. So I did have to tackle you last year. It was very unpleasant. Yeah. Yeah. I do remember you from that game now. I remember the people who I miss a tackle on because it's not often. So yeah, that was most of my pain.
So how was that experience? Like, how did you get to find yourself playing in the MLR and, in San Diego of all places?
Well, I mean, this is what I always tell my high school kids, like, if you can learn the entire front row and you just stay fit all the time, somebody's going to come looking for you.
That's true.
So San Diego, the Legion had visa problems with their front rowers from New Zealand. So they put out a massive message to all the local clubs, like, does anybody have front rowers that can scrum for the first 2 or 3 weeks while we figure out visas of the season? So, like, I got a call. It was a random phone call asking my height and weight and if I could play hooker. And I said yes, sent them all my stuff. And they're like, there's a scrum session at the Legion facility tomorrow morning. And then I ended up showing up. There was like 8 other front rowers. And they didn't even say anything after the session. I just shook the coach's hands and I was like, thanks for letting me be here. And then on the actual scrum coach, I shook his hand and he was like, are we going to see you tomorrow? And I was like, am I invited for tomorrow?
I'd love to see you tomorrow.
And then after that, the whole next 3 weeks of preseason training, was me asking at the end of every practice, like, can I come tomorrow? Just awkwardly shaking everybody's hands, and then at the very last moment asking head coach Danny Lee, like, can I see you tomorrow? And then finally, after about the 3rd week, they invited me out to the training camp where we played when Austin had a team at the end, the Gilgronis. We played them at the end at the Olympic Center. And after that training week, staying with the team, playing that game, I got asked to sign with the Legion, and then I got my cap in the home opener.
Nice, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, all of it was unreal. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was just like domino effect, just next. I was like, damn, this is crazy.
So, one of my little issues I have with the MLR is it doesn't necessarily look at the talent that's in its local area. So the Hounds, they should be sending scouts out to even down to Division 3, and I think that they should be watching our games and saying, hey, are you interested in XYZ? Because as we well know through the selects, half of that team was dedicated to D3 players. And I thought that they very much stepped up to the task, even though we didn't win very much. That's mainly down to cohesion. But I don't see why we always have to. They're looking a lot abroad when we have the talent, and all these athletes need is a good coach to teach them how to play. And
you gotta look at Chicago's still fairly new into the MLR, so San Diego's had a foothold for about 5 years before they finally started doing what you're saying. There's local hey, come show us they do showcases once every 3 months.
Wow.
And then people can come out and basically it's a tryout. You get a run. get a run in, see how you fare against, because they'll throw the Legion players in there too, and then you're getting a look. And then if you look at the Legion roster, there's a lot of San Diego locals on there.
That's cool.
Guys that I played with in club rugby, so like that's why I think a lot of the other teams are heading towards, because I hear Seattle's doing the same thing.
And I think to George's point, they kind of were doing that a little bit this year, George. Much to dismay some of the people in D3, they certainly had their claws in D1 and D2. You know, sort of around the Chicago area clubs for sure.
Yeah, I'll go back. I've seen a lot more of the academy players going in, but all I'm saying is like there was a lot of European and Pacific Island players in, especially Chicago MLR for the longest period of time, and I was like, well, why not just essentially make your D1 teams the MLR teams?
Yeah.
And
well, that's a whole different argument, man.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll hop in a little bit back into so your transition here to Lake County. So how did you end up in Lake County coming out of San Diego?
Military. Okay,
right.
This was not out of choice. I'm sorry to say that.
What? That's understandable. So you immediately look up a rugby club as a rugby guy, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, since like rugby's already a small world. Yeah. And then the Navy rugby is even smaller.
Fair enough.
So like somebody heard I was moving to Chicago and they were like, this is the club that's going to be the closest to you.
Good recruitment. Good for them.
Well, on my way over here.
You need to be paying attention to what's going on with Navy rugby, okay? You in particular need to go join a group and start paying attention when a Rock Creek guy moves here. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, Thomas.
I mean, the Lions reached out when I first moved here, but that was just too far of a drive for me. I ain't trying to be gone for 4 hours twice a night or twice a week.
Yeah, and Saturdays. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. So.
Yeah, I thought about Griffins. I was like, yeah, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
It's a long drive. So, you basically hung with them that first year, got some playing time, and then this next year, I imagine Jeff asked you to be coach, or how'd that kind of
go? Yeah, basically, they were looking around, and I guess just couldn't find somebody to fill that spot. And I said I would do it if they couldn't find anybody. Because really, the main dilemma was I still want to play, but I don't like coaching and playing. I want my focus to be on one or the other.
Understandable.
So that's the main dilemma,
Kind of a sacrifice for you to coach then.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that you getting injured was kind of fortuitous for being coached then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Your bicep.
Jeez. Yeah, fortuitous as heck. Everyone loves that. So you guys had kind of a spread out year. Were you were with them in the spring as well?
No, I focused more on the youth program.
Yeah, so you wearing the Youth Coyotes t-shirt. How's that going?
A lot better. It's going. I wish Rugby Illinois would work with us more.
Okay.
Because as of right now, we literally just make our own league.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we play ourselves. We have matches every Saturday. The only good thing is the parents don't mind it because we're treating it like YMCA.
Okay.
The inter sports leagues. So like we'll have all the kids come out for like 3 weeks of practices, and then on talent level split it as evenly as we can possible. And then like I have enough kids to do that. That's the great thing.
Yeah, that is really cool. So these kids are mostly under high school, because I was going to say Illinois has a high school league, right? Or
they do. I focused. Well, I'm kind of selfish because I have 4 boys 11 and under.
Okay, so makes sense.
So that was my goal. Well, so we moved here.
Good place to start. Honestly, we've realized we need to start in the same place because it's hard once they're already in high school. They already have a sport picked.
Yeah, they have their schedules. They have their things that they're used to.
Right.
So we moved here from San Diego, and San Diego has a huge rugby. Like where I lived in San Diego, my kids can go to 3 or 4 different clubs, all within 20-minute drives.
Nice.
So like,
cool.
where do you want to go? Where do you want to play? Who do you want to coach you? Right. So we came here, and I told my boys, I was like, if we can't find a club, then I'm going to make one.
I love it.
And Lake County said you're welcome to, and picked it up and ran with it.
Yep, that was it.
I heard about you running with this last year. I think when we had Jeff on here, he talked a little bit about you getting that going. So it's very impressive, man. I've tried to do it here in Rockford and have been completely unsuccessful. So it's good to hear about it being successful in other places. It gives some hope.
Just got to try. I mean, like, every year more kids keep popping up. So.
And are you doing a lot of outreach to the schools themselves, or how are you kind of generating the interest for this? Like, just started with like people you knew, kind of, and a group from there, or?
Yeah, it's really been word of mouth.
Right.
I think we set up a couple signs in the area around the pitch because luckily I've seen Rockford's pitch. You guys are kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Sure are.
Fuck Egypt.
Yeah. Oh no, that is. I was on my way back from your guys' last match. I was like, that is one of my favorite pitches right there.
For sure, it's cool.
Your whole setup is awesome. But so luckily, Lake County's pitch is right next to a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And we put signs throughout the neighborhoods like, hey, rugby practices from here to here, come try it. And that was a lot of people that just showed up. They're like, I saw your sign, so we wanted to try it.
That's really cool.
And
a good way to get it going.
4 boys, all different ages. They talk to their friends at school and generate.
So the biggest thing I did for the kids this last year was I made sure we got these custom rugby balls made with the logo and like our saying on it. And I made sure every kid went home with one so that if they left it somewhere, they played with it in the park, they're just running around with it. It generates some interest because it happened in our neighborhood. I would be driving home from work and I'd catch my kids trying to show other kids how to play touch rugby out in the field next to our house. So,
yeah,
cool, man.
Kids generate interest from kids so much better than me and Steven going into a school like, do you want to play rugby?
Yeah.
No, they don't. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta kind of build it and they will come type of thing.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Had a pretty good year of rugby this year, haven't you? You've coached select sides. You've gone to Europe to play.
Yeah, it's been kind of wild.
So talk to me about the select side. How did you? Like, it seems like you all of a sudden you were just a head coach, and it was like, oh, wow, okay. Like, did you nominate yourself? Did you?
No, it was literally just word of mouth. Like, honest to God, it was just what was I? I think because I sit around after the matches and talk to everybody. Right? It's not like I don't talk to everybody, and I tell everybody what I hope and what I want, and like. Because my future dreams is I am trying to help my kids get the best rugby they can get before they turn 18. Like, that is the goal. Like, that is all I'm working towards. And if we're out here, then my goal is to make everybody else better so that if they come up through the ranks out here, they have better coaching, better players, better role models. Like, my overall goal is all selfish towards my kids. But, like, I'm going to help every other team I can because if the rugby gets better out here, they're going to be playing better rugby.
Yeah. That was sort of my point. I actually, was kind of having a conversation with myself in the mirror, and I said that what I want to do is leave my position a little better than when I started. I want to have made a slight impact in this sport. And, we're all getting to the end of our actual playing careers. But beyond that, we're going to be fantastic local ambassadors for the sport.
Yeah, exactly.
It's given us everything, giving us friends, giving us up. There's nothing more than than a humiliation that a rugby game can give you. You know, it is so good for you.
And I think that me talking the way I was, I think sparked interest in a couple people because I think I was talking to Marquez and Brendan, some of the guys that were either on the Carfu board or are still on the board. And then I guess my name got brought up to coach the select side. I got asked, and I said, yeah, that sounds exactly what I want to do. I want to help all the clubs I can. You know.
So did you have any sort of, like obviously you had the kids experience, but did you have any adult coaching experience when you were just sort of handed the select side baby?
Oh yeah, I have. Actually, my coaching resume is pretty.
Oh,
there. Yeah, I've done quite a lot of coaching as well.
I didn't realize that. I didn't know that.
Just because I'm still playing.
Yeah, I apologize, Tom. We're a little underprepared for this interview. Slowly realizing you're by far the most famous person we've had on Sports by Compian. We're like, we probably should do a little bit more of a depth into your bio, but that's fine. We can always save that for another time.
No worries.
It's been cool having you on, though, man. Getting back to kind of this Lake County thing, you know, they got a heck of a coach there. I'm not envious because I love our coach, honestly. But good for you. I'm happy to see it.
Really?
I love ball, dude. Get out of here. Anyway, moving on. So we'll talk first about our game, even though it's kind of in the middle of your season, but it's obviously the freshest in our mind. You know, kind of go through. It's just how we do it, okay? When we start here, obviously it's the one that we know about. I don't know about the rest of the season.
We won as well.
And of course, it's my favorite game of the whole year. Why would I bring this up? But yeah. Not to go too much in depth about it, but it's always a fun rivalry when these two teams meet. Big win for us, put us in a chance to kind of sneak into the playoffs, not really. But yeah, so it's always competitive. I saw some things I didn't expect, like Juan out there at 12. That's a transition, but he's pulling it off well. Definitely a lot of new faces, you know, as far as the back line and at 10 and everything like that. Of course, Ethan's been there at 13 for a while. Some of the same forward, of course. Whoever that lock was, 5 or 4. God, that kid, he's gonna be a beast. That man murdered me.
He is a kid.
I heard he's like 21, 22. I talked to him afterwards.
Yeah, he just turned 21.
He ran me over like 2 times within 20 seconds, Thomas. It was some of the worst rugby I've been a part of. It was like, because at first he had the ball, so he ran me over. Then we get the ball back, and I had the ball, and he just killed me on the tackle. I'm sure you saw it. And yeah, that's the hardest something to hit. No, it wasn't actually the hardest because the Woodsmen both played me out before that. That was more painful, but definitely a brutal tackle. That kid's gonna be a stud. But yeah, talk to us about your forwards, about your back line. What are you excited about?
So I think the most challenging thing about this year was the 2 teams.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. True.
It's great. It's a double-edged sword, man. It's outstanding that we have to have 2 teams because there would have been a lot of people missing out on playing time, right? So we made two precise goals at the very beginning of the season that we wanted to reach. One of them was not forfeiting a single game for either side. And then the other was just being a team that every other team wants to hang out with, right? Yeah. We wanted to build that rugby culture because it seems like a lot of teams are kind of missing that. You guys are great. Rockford's always great. The Woodsmen were pretty great. I have a good time at those socials. Yeah. But you know, there's some other teams out there that
there's some other teams. Agreed. Enough said there. But anyway.
Are we going to get into it?
So we've already given that club enough airtime here on Sports by Compian. We're all set.
But so there was a lot of new faces this year. That roster alone had about 4 or 5 people that have never played rugby before starting that game. And then overall, I think we had about 20 brand new rugby players this season.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's
so,
huge.
Yeah, recruiting.
From
what?
Where did they all come from? They just like grew out of the grass, or
There's a ton of people in Lake County, man.
I have no idea. Whoever's like recruiting, they're doing really well. Just keep keep doing whatever they're doing.
Jim is a social media master. Him and Marcus are up there as the best social media in D3 for sure.
Oh yeah.
These guys, nobody on your team is small. It's like, oh man, I'm tackling another.
Yeah, no, they're all big boys.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with their recruiting, but it's working. So hopefully it continues into next year, and then we'll have 2 solid sides. Because there was maybe 1 or 2 weeks where we were struggling to put 17 on each side, you know.
Sure.
But I think if we keep recruiting like we do, and hopefully prevent some of these injuries that happened, we'll have a solid like 45, 46 guys every week.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, we're sort of headed in the same direction. As you mentioned in the fall, we had a couple guys not get game time, so we're kind of looking at the same thing. But like you said, it's kind of as you get down to it sometimes, and you know how we're going to fill 2 rosters. We didn't quite fill our last roster and ended with 22 players. So
yeah,
it's just the consistency is a thing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's always a problem.
Yeah,
for sure. But talk about the rest of your season. You guys came into that game, in a great spot to make the playoffs. I think you'd only dropped a game to, was it the Woodsman or?
We dropped. Well, yeah, the Woodsman was the beginning of the season, and then we had a pretty tough go at what's it called? Why am I drawing a blank on their name? Dan's team.
Well, no. Well, CRC, you guys, I thought you beat them the very first game.
We did beat them. I'm talking about our last game.
Riot.
Riot. Yeah. Of course. Good old fucking Riot, dude. I don't know what that club does.
So big.
We had Francis over here, and we were trying to get to the bottom of his juice, but I think overall they're just nestled there in the city, and they're not a D2 squad, so I think that helps them out.
Well, they got a D4 squad, and they're pretty close to becoming a D2 squad. They
could probably do it, but I think they're comfortable here in D3.
They're so solid. Like the playoff rugby, like when I was watching it, it was like there wasn't much difference between the D3 playoffs and the D2 playoffs. Just obviously D2 is just basically a well-oiled machine at that point. But the Maoris, they were a D2 side when they were playing us regularly, but their players all get scared when they go up a division, so they just don't carry on playing, or they don't get new players in to fill those spots. And it's just that 10-20% more physical and quicker, Yeah.
I mean, overall, D3 is pretty freaking even.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty close.
I mean, halfway through the season, it could have been anybody's game at the end.
For sure. No, it was very close this year for sure. Teams like the Riot find a way to kind of pull ahead of everyone, though. They're like the Chiefs.
Well, what I'm saying is that the Silverback, they are going to be a hell of a team to beat in a year or so.
Oh yeah, I do agree.
They're going to be so tough, and they've got nowhere to go, so they're stuck in D3 for until the Griffins become an MLR team. And
yeah,
no, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. That whole empire over there, it's going to be fun. But yeah, so going back into what you guys were talking about, so did you guys end up beating the Woodsmen? You might have, right?
No, we didn't.
No, okay. All right,
Yeah.
so it was Woodsmen and the Riot. So yeah, a couple tougher games, but like so teams like what am I looking for here? Like, who do you think are some of your offensive players who really took like a big step for you in the fall that you saw?
Ted stepping into fullback was really, really good. I was because he was our 10 last year.
Okay.
But Ted, Sergio, our back 3 played really good this year, and that was. I know a lot of people were looking out for our kicks because that was what we were harping on for them to do, because their kick and chase was really what helped us out in a lot of games, because Ted would place that kick perfectly. Yeah, place that kick perfectly, and Sergio is just a machine, dude. He just does not stop running.
No, and he's a solid tackler too.
And he's such a clever rugby player. Like, so coachable. I feel as well. Like he's got.
Oh
such
yeah, he's only
personality.
been playing for 2 years.
Yeah. He's sort of like
Very, very coachable.
You know, he's very easily one of the nicest people I've talked to, and every year I see a little fucker. He's like 20 to 30%, and it's like I fucking hate how good you're getting.
Hey, Sergio ran a 4.42 Bronco.
Jeez.
Jesus, fucking sociopath.
Wow. You got some studs over there for sure. Like I played with Ted during Tri-City Sevens over the summer, and man, Sevens pitch is tough trying to tackle Ted. Like I didn't have to play against him luckily, but he scored so many tries that day. I forget what he ended up at, but it was close to double digits. It was pretty ridiculous.
Which one's Ted?
Either captain / fullback, sweet mustache, hell of a kicker.
Good hair.
Good hair, yeah. Overall attractive gentleman. Anyway, he also had a good game in general. Like I remember various times scrambling back there, chasing him to the ball. So he's absolutely a stud. So yeah, obviously you're excited about your lock there to absolutely kill me. What's his name?
Tony.
Right here, Tony. And I heard he's getting a little. Is this like his second year with the club or first year?
This is his first 15. He was playing sevens with them.
Okay.
And then, I convinced him to play 15s because I don't think he was going to come out.
Why not?
He's shy. Well, he was shy. He ain't shy no more.
No?
No, he was pretty shy all summer. Like, he didn't really want to talk to or hang out with anybody. And then he finally opened up. And then he's like all in. Now he's asking for more practices and more touch sessions. So
love it. He's going to be really good. That's terrible for us.
That's good for the select side though, because he is the first one I'll be calling to come out there.
So I fucking behave yourself.
But of course, long-term member Jeff, president. I don't even know all the millions of hats he wears over there, but it must be nice to have a guy like him kind of holding that whole organization.
Oh my gosh! I mean that not having to do any of that while you're coaching is phenomenal. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. Like, he takes care of everything.
That's pretty cool.
So,
he's a real ambassador for the rugby community.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why Carfu doesn't have him doing more. Like, he should be up there, man.
I don't think he wants it. I think anytime we've tried to, I've been to those meetings and we all started yelling for Jeff and he doesn't want to do shit. So, he's got his hands full with his own empire.
That's true. I get it.
And of course, a buddy of mine, fellow Four Fest champion, Mr. Curtis Hyatt, couldn't attend his second Rockford game in a row now. And we've won 2 against him. So I'm telling him he must be scared, something like that. But
please keep doing that.
I know he's apparently the type of guy who's been bouncing back and forth with helping you guys out at D4. What I loved about his career watching it is that he just never seems to mind wherever you guys need me, whatever you need me to do. You need me to come in the second half, whatever.
Oh, I was about to say that. If there's anybody that's a club guy, that is the one right there. Any help you need? I mean, he got certified ref so that I could use him for the kids. That's literally the only reason why he did it. So he's the kids referee. So like that guy.
No, that's right. He told me about going to a couple of those.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Curtis. You know, he's just a stand-up guy. You know, you can talk to him about anything, he'll natter on about it. You know, we did have a little bit of a scrap at a horse fest, but you know, it's like, dude, we're just out here having fun. Like, you both of us.
He's a good time. We won't go through all the players because there's too many of them, and really whatever with Lake County. Nah, just kidding. We love you guys. Thanks for coming on. But I did want to talk about one more guy, Mr. Juan Soto. I actually thought he was the current best hooker in D3, and then that's why I was a little surprised to see this transition to 12. Not saying he's not doing a good job out there, but yeah, talk about that move.
So, you know, your 12 is your hard downhill runner, right? Currently, I don't really have a 12 that I really like to have there to to hit that hole hard or even hit a ruck hard,
Sure.
because you need your centers to be able to come in and support the rest of the backs, because if the forwards aren't there, somebody's going to have to set that ruck,
We're
hit the
trying
hole
to
hard.
mob them right now.
So Juan actually lost weight to get to the center, and I was like, oh, if you want to do it, let's see it. We tried it out in practice, and he was just doing exactly what I wanted. So we have other guys that can play center, but it's just like Ted could play center, Sergio could play center, but like them on the back three is way better than having them at the center.
Yeah.
Understandable. Yeah, center's a tough position. We're kind of lacking it a little bit. Our rookie of the year last year went down, so we've been plugging that gap with a couple of different people. It's a pivotal position. It's very important, it turns out. But
So,
shout out Toto. He's doing a decent job out there. I was just a little surprised to see it because he was so good at hooker.
He is a great hooker, but one of the new guys stepped up. He's gotten better every week, working extra hard. Like, he would come to practice 30 minutes early just to work on throwing and work on his position alone. So he showed that initiative. He showed that he could do it at practice. So we're like, let's make this move. Josh Freeman.
Josh Freeman, hey, Buccaneers legend. Love to see that he's playing rugby now. Cool.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about your boys is even at your like touch practices or your touch games on the weekend, you're getting numbers out. Like the Ravens really struggle at maintaining people to do a little bit extra to better themselves. Is it something that you brought in, or was it already at the Lake County?
No, I think that was the big change we made at the beginning of the season. So I don't know if you remember, but every team that I have played for since I was in Italy, from that Italian team all the way to San Diego, the Legion did it, and then I came here. We played that first season, and I came in late. I missed the first game of Lake County before I moved here, and then I played the rest of the season. But this year, I told the board that I wanted to do a team bonding event. And like, it didn't matter if they were new to the club, if they were rookies, if they were veterans, like, I wanted everybody to go to this. And we made it a big camping trip. And of course, Curtis knew somebody with 10 acres of land that they would let us all use for basically like team Olympic events.
Cool.
And we had about 30 guys come out, split into 6-guy teams, had multiple events, and then a big old social at the end.
Love it, man. That's awesome.
And I think that was the key trigger right there to building the bond, because we already had a lot of new guys coming in from the summer and the spring. So like there you can already see it's not meant to be that way. Nobody means it to be where the new guys and the veterans are split. Nobody ever means it to be that way, but you're just used to hanging out with this guy and you're just used to hanging out with this guy. So I put the whole camping trip together, and I put those groups of 6 with everybody that doesn't really hang out with each other.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a lot of the events we did, you had to talk and work together to figure out the best way to win. And that was it. And I think from then on, it was just, it just soared through the season. Like, hey, we're having a get together, and everybody was comfortable being like, oh, I know these guys.
Huh.
Yeah, because we the core group of the Ravens, we're all. If you ask us, if a drop of beer falls in and somebody sends a picture of it, you know that the 5 Ravens are going to show up there and start drinking the beer. It's the other 10, 15 guys that we really struggle to really pull them out. And I'm at my wit's end. I believe Steven's at his wit's end about, the rugby culture is very much so you work hard, you play hard.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you guys need a camping trip.
Camping trip at the Lyron. Settled.
No exotic though, is it? That's fucking whorefest.
Yeah,
True.
true. We'll figure something out, but Thomas, just to leave you with this last thing. So, going into next year now, are you coaching again? Are you potentially playing, hoping to find a new coach? Deal.
I think everything's pretty set in place. I'm doing the same things. I'm supposed to be talking here soon about the select side because that's the next on the list. And then planning some things for January, February, March. And then I don't really do anything with the spring for Lake County because I focus more on the kids in the spring. But I will help them. I probably coach them a couple times or like once a week all the way through the spring. And then I'll play here and there in the summer. And then we'll start getting ramped up. And we're already talking about the next camping trip to start the season off. So,
Cool.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Army of Ravens show up to this select sides, by the way. Like,
Good.
as soon as we send out that invite, we're out.
I hope so. I hope everybody that came out last year realizes that I want us to win. I want us to be better than all the other select sides. Like, there's a lot of talent out here in Chicago, and nobody wants to show up to this, and it just blows my mind. Like there's so much talent. Even if you don't make it, you should know that you helped make that team the best it could be because somebody had to beat you out.
Exactly. And it blew my mind at the sheer lack of like information about it. It was like, oh, this is the invite. You read through the invite.
Yeah,
very vague.
I know that is probably one of my biggest complaints from talking to those guys in those meetings was like, why are we waiting so long? Why are you waiting 3 weeks before the match to tell everybody, hey, we got a select side going?
What are you meant to learn in 2 practices on a Saturday?
Hey, yeah, we might have not won as many games as we wanted, but we held our own.
Oh.
And I know we held our own. You boys played really well out there. So
that first game, though, oh my God, was it that first day?
Yeah,
it was hilarious. But we could spend a whole podcast talking about war stories.
Yeah, I don't want to hold Thomas up too much more. Just your last hopes and dreams, for this coming year for your Lake County Coyotes. Feeling good? Hop back in that playoff spot?
Yeah, I really believe so because now we have these 20 new guys that have some rugby under their belt now. It's only time to improve now. And a lot of them are young. That's the best part. A lot of them are still in their early 20s. So
good shit.
It's going to happen. They're going to improve, and we're going to get there. So
love it. Any last words over there, Mr. Beard himself, the ginger?
I love this guy, and I can't wait to go on tour with him to Italy.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah, shout out Renegades. All right, Thomas, we really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the content so we can continue to have famous guests like Thomas on here.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot. Sports.com.